So our final position to talk about is going to be what? Quarterback. And Sooner fans are overly excited, over the moon, about our starting quarterback this season. Honestly, it's crazy how much coverage we're getting because now I'm nervous. I'll explain why, while at the same time I'm going to break down the final room for Oklahoma, the quarterback. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you for pulling up to the channel. Our room reviews are sponsored by our partners at BetUS TV. Check them out. Their channel here on YouTube breaks down the odds and analysis that you need for the gambling world. So check them out. Search BetUS TV here on YouTube. So we've got to talk about our quarterback. Well, the entire room, actually, because I'm going to be honest. I am very encouraged going forward in the quarterback room because not only will the leader do his thing, but I think he's going to bring along everybody else the way we need. And then we'll wrap up and talk about recruiting in the quarterback position because that still has a lot of twists and turns. So let's break down what all that means. All right, so you all know that we got ourselves a starting quarterback who actually has statistics. You know, John Mateer's walking in the door. Y'all have seen the propaganda go out. You've seen the videos. You've seen the commentary from those at On3 like Andy Staples, Ari Wiseman, as well as J.D. Pickell. They've been throwing out some stuff. Heard ESPN go in about it over there. Bill Conley talked through it. And everybody's extremely high on our guy, John Mateer. But rightfully so, because the reason why you should be high on someone like John Mateer is he's coming in with the experience you need to play, plus he's bringing his offense. This is not a situation where you're dealing with a quarterback that doesn't know what he's doing. You got a quarterback who's been in a system roughly 2 years, kind of 3, because when Ben Arbuckle came in there, it was the next year, the second year for Cam Ward at Washington State, and having John Mateer as a redshirt freshman. And so Mateer learned his system right behind Cam Ward, learned a lot from Cam Ward. He told us that. You know, he talked about how Cam Ward was basically a mentor for him and helped him get to where he feels like he is and getting better. And then last season he took over. So, of course, you know, statistically, he gave you 3,100 yards and 800 yards rushing. So he's a quarterback that's not going to only pass the ball, but he's also going to run the ball. So that means you've got a dude he's going to be a dual threat, period. And I don't care that it's the SEC. We've seen dudes be dual threats in the SEC. All I got to do is be quick enough to get out of the pocket and go. And that's really what his game is predicated on, is the ability to move and then chunk the thing. And he throws the ball well on the go. I'll have a film breakdown of a couple of games over there in the members section. So if you want to subscribe, please, I'm going to start tossing a bunch of content over there, especially film reviews this summer, so you all can enjoy me looking at, you know, what I see at a Mateer. But I mean, you see the video on the side here when he was mic'd up, him and Ben Arbuckle, they were making it happen. And he's thrown a lot of nice passes, a lot of spot passes, like right in the bucket. And one thing I heard was he's making really good mistakes. So, you know, Brent Venables' defense is aggressive. It's really good. And so some of the passes he's making, they're finding ways to tip it, get the pick. And that's kind of what you want in these practices. You want the aggressiveness to where if a mistake's made, he shakes it off and continues to play. You know, he'll do an interception, and the next play he'll go out there and throw a dime and get yourself a touchdown. You need that, especially playing in the SEC. So, but I think that Mateer being here is going to be beneficial to the rest. Let's talk about that. But first, shout out to our partners over there at BetUS TV. Check out their YouTube channel. They are breaking down all the analysis on the gambling world, odds, over-unders, especially now in college basketball season. And looking at the SEC win totals here for some of the game teams we play, regular season wins, you've got, you know, us, you're looking at Michigan, South Carolina, all those teams that we will be, you know, going up against. And, of course, you know, Ole Miss. All of these are set to over, and it looks like all of them are favorites to go over the total. So I think Oklahoma can. If you want to get in the action, go check out BetUS TV. Check out their channel. They'll give you some breakdowns and all of that. And, of course, gamble responsibly. BetUS, where the game begins. So this is why Mateer is going to be beneficial even more than just on the field with production. This new system is something everybody's got to learn together. And him having the mentorship he got from Cam Ward tells me he's probably going to pass that along down to a Michael Hawkins, to a Jet New, and honestly, even a Cole Gonzalez. And I'll kind of break down a little bit on Cole Gonzalez and why I think that he's a very solid backup, even coming from Western Carolina with all the numbers that he put up. But look at it this way. Having a guy that's been in a system at least 2 years and has actually put up production typically makes it easier for the quarterback behind him to learn something. And the expectation is we should have Ben Arbuckle at least 2 seasons. That's my expectation. If they ball out this year, he'll probably get a G5 head coaching offer. Then the next year, if he stays, there's a good chance Ben gets a offer at possibly a smaller P4, depending on what the numbers that are put up. And if that's the case, you'll have Michael Hawkins as well as John Mateer for the next couple of years. And then Jet New right behind him, which could lead to a potential chance that the room gets really small really quick. Because if John Mateer shows out this year, I can totally see him ending up in the NFL draft. As I'm not sure how next season draft really looks like, because there's not a lot of big names that are eligible, I guess you could say. I mean, outside of Arch Manning that everybody's going to talk about, who else is really there that you really know and feel like could be it? You don't have Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders. You don't have a Cam Ward out there. I mean, maybe Carson Beck, but him coming back made people have questions. But I digress. I like Cole Gonzalez as the backup, though. He put up some dumb numbers while he was at, Western Carolina. Last season, he put up 2,500 yards passing, 12 touchdowns. The year before, he had 2,800 yards and 28 touchdowns and single-digit interceptions, 787 for his career in those 3 years. He's put up some really solid numbers for a career. And to me, that is always good to have a veteran that looks like they know how to play. He's not going to be, I don't know if he'll be a world beater, but he'll be a great backup component, but also someone that played at this level can give tips and stuff too. Like I said, a player like a Michael Hawkins, a Jet New, in building them up. So I'm not as low on Cole Gonzalez as a lot of you are. I like a quarterback that's thrown the ball a ton and has been hit and understands how to get rid of the ball. I mean, he had 15 sacks last season. He got sacked 7 times the year before, 8 in his first year as a starter. That, to me, is really good overall. Just that, he was injured, portions of last season, end of last season, so he didn't play. He did stop playing in October. But 2,500 yards through October, pretty solid. Had a few games. What's this? The Furman game, he threw for 600-some yards, which is kind of crazy, and 5 touchdowns. But level competition, I understand. But North Carolina State, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. 62% completion percentage, and only sacked 1 time. So that means he'll get rid of the ball and keep the play going. Not building you up on Cole Gonzalez. Just understand, I'm telling you, having a competent backup is also very solid to have, especially one that can help and prevent us from taking Michael Hawkins' red shirt if he ends up redshirting next year. You want to have somebody that can go out there and just play a few snaps to end the game. And I think Cole Gonzalez is capable of doing that with John Mateer as your bona fide starter. But then from there, Cole Gonzalez will be done after this year. Same thing for potentially John Mateer, which leads you with Michael Hawkins and Jet New in the quarterback room. It's only 2 quarterbacks. So that means you're going to have to portal another guy. And then that brings in Jaden O'Neal as well as the potential for a Bo Bentley. And that's kind of where that Bo Bentley, Jaden O'Neal piece comes into play for me. Because it makes sense to go for 2 quarterbacks because as of now, with the way NIL is going to go and the way that you'll have the revenue share coming up over the next year, my anticipation is the price for a quarterback that's not like a 5-star will drop dramatically to where it's more cost effective to take either a second quarterback in your class or go get a transfer from a player that's probably not going to play at whatever school they're at. And they're okay with being a backup. You're going to want that. And I think that, your true freshmen will become your wholesale prices. And then your transfers are going to end up being your retail prices. If you understand that game, you understand that wholesale is a lot cheaper than retail pricing. And that's kind of like the NFL model. NFL rookies are considered your wholesale pricing, and then, or the rookie scale. And then when you get them in free agency, if you get going after bigger players, it's usually retail prices. The price of the brick goes up specifically because those guys are now proven and they have statistics. So you can get lucky and get yourself a transfer portal quarterback that's okay as a backup, but you probably rather have some guys that are going to be competitive, like heavily competitive. And I believe that makes the most sense of why you would see the two. Now, hopefully Oklahoma doesn't fumble the bag. Ben Arbuckle doesn't fumble the bag with both Bo Bentley as well as Jaden O'Neal, but I don't see it. I know that Jaden really likes Oklahoma. He moved closer for a reason. So I anticipate that being something that should work forward. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get with him and his dad and his people soon to see kind of what the latest update is with them and make sure I'll toss it to you all. But quarterback room looks like it's in a very good place because everybody's raving about it, and that's what makes me nervous. I don't like the idea that Oklahoma is getting this much attention. I'm keeping it a buck because getting this much attention just means that we can't sneak up on anybody. And I like the idea of sneaking up on folks. I like for us to just populate up on them. Boom! Oklahoma's here. Bah, what you got? Can't do that now. We're now going to have to focus on meeting expectations and actually surpassing. So as long as the offense is competent, I believe the defense can continue to do what they do. We'll talk about that more in detail in another video. So let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know y'all's thoughts. How y'all feeling about the new quarterback room for Oklahoma? Does this change things on your feelings? Let me know your thoughts. Shout out our partners over there at BetUS TV. Check out their channel here on YouTube. They can give you some of the best odds and analysis out there. Just search BetUS TV in YouTube. Make sure you gamble responsibly. We will chop it up soon. I'm going to give y'all my feedback and thoughts on this Bedlam as I've been thinking about it more. I'll have a video for you guys this weekend on that. So check it out, and we'll dive into some of the comments coming from everybody about the Sooners. So we'll talk soon. Peace.